Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring a discussion on the strategic partnership between India and Singapore. The participants are Ashok Sajjanhar, former ambassador, and Sonu Sood, anchor.
The fourth round of the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable ISMR was held in Singapore today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, and Minister of State for Commerce, Industry, Electronics and IT, Jitin Prasad, participated in the meeting. What is the significance of this meeting for the bilateral relations of India and Singapore? We have Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar. Ambassador Sajjanhar, warm welcome to you on Akashvani.
Thank you very much, Sonuji, for inviting me. It's always a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
So, Ambassador Sajjanhar, this round table which is happening between the ministers of India and Singapore, how important is it to take forward the India-Singapore bilateral relations? Where do they stand right now? Where do you see them going with these frequent interactions taking place?
I think, first of all, it needs to be recognized that Singapore is the only country with which India has such a ministerial roundtable. There are other countries with which we have bigger trading relations, bigger trading partnerships, but with no other country have we this sort of an arrangement where four ministers get together. And as we know, this is the fourth ISMR, India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable. Before that, we've had three earlier roundtables started in 2022, just after COVID. But it was thought that as a result of the COVID, it had hit the whole world very, very hard. So we really needed to come together to ensure that in future, if there are some problems of this nature, that they don't impact the supply chains and the economic exchanges so very badly. So it was started in the wake end of the COVID pandemic, and then it is a mark of the keen interest and determination of both countries that we've been holding this meeting every year. It's become an annual feature. So the first one was held in 2022. Around the end of that, then the next one in 2024, third one in 2025, and the fourth one today in 2026. The next point I'd like to make is that having been in diplomacy for many, many decades, I know that it is extremely difficult to get hold of four ministers all at the same time and to coordinate their timetables so that all of them are able to come together. But again, it speaks of the commitment of both sides that we have been able to get this done over the last 4 years. And even today, we have four of our ministers, as you mentioned, Sonuji, who have gone to Singapore.
Yes.
And I saw from the meeting details that there were about more than 6 or 7 ministers from the Singaporean side who participated. Again, it underlines and emphasizes the fact that Singapore is very keen to take this partnership forward.
Yes.
I think in the context of the changes that are taking place globally, because we see that there is weaponization of tariffs, we see that there is weaponization of sanctions, we see that there is weaponization of supply chains, and in that context, we need reliable partners. And I think what is the underlying feature as far as Singapore-India relations are concerned is that there is a trust between the two countries, there is mutual respect between the two countries. Right. And I think that is what really strengthens this partnership. So coming to the ISMR, there have been a number of areas that have been defined in terms of how the bilateral cooperation should be taken forward. If you permit, I will just mention a few figures which will indicate the importance of the India-Singapore bilateral relationship. Number one, Singapore is the largest trading partner of India in ASEAN countries. In terms of investment also, Singapore accounts for about 25% of the total investment that India gets every year. Even if you were to take the cumulative investment that has come into India from 2000 onwards till now, we have received about $200 billion out of a total of $800 billion that India has received from the world in investment over this period. Even last year, India received about $20 billion of investment from Singapore, again, which was about 25% of our total investment that we received last year.
Right.
Even in the area of trade, and that is the last point that I'll make, Sonuji, in this segment. Even in terms of trade, Singapore is the sixth largest trading partner of India globally, world over. And that amount is about $36 billion. Of course, India has a huge deficit in terms of balance of trade with Singapore, but that is because we are importing large quantities of high technology products and items from Singapore. And we export about $12 billion and import about $24 billion from Singapore. But the potential is huge, and it is in this context that the first ISMR was launched in 2022, and it is to be taken forward in all the discussions that have been held today to make it more current, make it more modern, and to realize the full potential of our partnership.
Absolutely. Ambassador Sajjanhar, you have so beautifully outlined the way our relationship has evolved and how Singapore has become the largest contributor of foreign direct investment in India. And we have such a wide-ranging trade partnership. If we talk about, as you said, with changing times, if we talk about the strategic and emerging sectors, under the comprehensive strategic partnership, you feel that special emphasis which is being laid on the digital technology, cooperation in these areas, digital public infrastructure or semiconductor supply chain or AI governance, cyber security, some of the areas which were talked about today, those are the need of the hour?
No, absolutely. You mentioned about comprehensive strategic partnership, which was signed when Prime Minister Modi visited Singapore in 2024, so just about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we have continued to take very significant measures and very significant steps to take it forward. At that time, there were 8 areas, 8 fields that were identified on which we would give particular focus in terms of taking our partnership forward. Of course, that is dealing with subjects even that go beyond what the Ministerial Roundtable is doing, because the mandate of the Ministerial Roundtable, as we can see from the composition, we have Commerce Industry Minister, we have Finance Minister, we have Electronic and IT Minister, and of course we have the External Affairs Minister. So they are basically focused on economy, on trade, on science, technology, on investment. Of course, the CSP, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, the 8 items that were decided in 2024, they included economic cooperation, skill development, digitalization, sustainability, connectivity, healthcare and medicine, defense and security cooperation, and people-to-people connection. Of course, defense and security cooperation, I would say, is separate element by itself, which is very, very important and on which considerable work is being done and progress is being made. But all the other 7 elements are really covered under this ISMR, in which discussions have been taking place. And as you said very rightly, the 6 areas that were identified last year for taking our cooperation partnership forward comprised of advanced manufacturing, connectivity, healthcare, medicine, sustainability, digitalization, and skill development. And in that context, in the area particularly of semiconductors, considerable work has been done. It has been, in fact, also decided that we will open a national center of excellence on skilling. The technological revolution of today that we are definitely going to fully be a full partner of. And in that context, when Prime Minister Modi also visited Singapore in 2024, he had visited he had toured one of the largest semiconductor manufacturing companies, in which, in fact, for this visit, the Singapore Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, he also accompanied him.
Yes.
And so this is a very important area, skilling in the area of semiconductor development and manufacturing. And this has already started. So I think the areas that you mentioned, Sonuji, the AI in terms of AI governance, in terms of cyber security, advanced manufacturing, quantum computing, robotics, these are all new areas in which both the countries have decided that they are going to take forward their partnership in a very definite and comprehensive manner.
Absolutely. So, Ambassador Sajjanhar, if we talk about the 2023 initiative of the cross-border linkage between India's UPI and Singapore's Pay Now digital system, you think that's a milestone in global financial connectivity?
I think it's a very important initiative, and it has, this was just about 3 years ago. And you would recall that when this whole idea of even within the country digitization and digitalization was started, there were very many doubting voices which said that this will not be able to succeed because India is a developing country, we don't have electric supply, we don't have connectivity, etc. But all of them have been proven wrong. And now this connect with so many countries, it started with Singapore, as you said very rightly, but now it has gone to so many other countries. And this, of course, helps not only in terms of promoting tourism, which is very important. It promotes people-to-people connect, it promotes financial connectivity, and it helps businesses because they are able to operate without going through different banks and without going through different financial institutions. So it would be a benefit across the board for Singaporeans as well, particularly for the Indians who are based there and who travel to that country.
So, Ambassador Sajjanhar, two more points. Our International Solar Alliance and Global Biofuel Alliance, Singapore joined both in 2023. So there seems to be a very symbiotic relationship between the two countries where there is mutual trust, there is mutual respect. And you spoke about Indian companies investing in Singapore and Singaporean companies investing in India. And the second emphasis which is being given on giving fresh impetus to cooperation in digital skill development. You think these are also going to go a long way in deepening these trade relations between the two countries?
No, absolutely. This is the need of the hour. So the first point that you mentioned about Singapore's membership of ISA, International Solar Alliance. So that is, I think, a very welcome move. And also it sends out this message that climate change is an existential threat as far as the world is concerned. And all the countries need to get together. Similarly, the Biofuels Alliance, which was launched in 2023 on the sidelines, on the margins of the G20. When India had the chairmanship of G20. So there also Singapore has joined, again basically showing its commitment to the fact that we need to protect the environment and to preserve the climate as it exists and pass it on to our future generations. So definitely this is something very important, and also in the area of digitalization and skill development in the area of semiconductors, very important, and this is already happening because I think both the countries have realized, and it is reflected in the decisions that the ministers have taken today also, Sonuji, that we need to march ahead of the times as far as future technologies are concerned.
Right.
And then only we will be able to give greater content as far as our partnership is concerned. And this is what seems to be happening, and this is what the results of the meeting today, and I think we'll be able to see the results in future, how they are implemented, and the results in future will also become evident to us.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, thank you so much for joining us and throwing light on multifaceted, evolved and deepening bilateral relations between India and Singapore.
Thank you very much, Sonuji. It's always a pleasure to be, and I'm delighted to have had this conversation with you.
You were listening to a discussion on the strategic partnership between India and Singapore. The participants were Ashok Sajjanhar, former ambassador, and Sonu Sood, anchor.
Spotlight.